This is One Sentence News, a daily podcast featuring 3 news stories with a sentence-long summary and 1 sentence of context apiece. I'm Colin Wright. This is a sponsored message. I've been using Anchor as my podcast host for a while now, and it's been a pleasure to use. Anchor offers benefits that most other hosts do not. It's free to use, but it also has a collection of tools that allow you to create a podcast completely within the Anchor website or smartphone app. They distribute your show to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other distribution channels without any additional effort on your part, and you can make money from your podcast without any minimum audience size. So you can use it as a more traditional podcast host like I do, but it's also got everything you need to start a podcast from scratch. If you're keen to give it a shot, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It's Friday, November 11th, 2022. Let's talk about the news. From Defense One, Russian forces retreat from Kherson in major loss. Confirming rumors that have been spreading in intelligence circles for weeks, the Russian military has announced a retreat from the Ukrainian city Kherson and the surrounding area, potentially representing a significant defeat for those forces. I say potentially, because there's a chance this pullback is a ruse meant to lure Ukrainian forces into some kind of ambush, and that seems to be the assumption with which many Ukrainian leaders are approaching this announcement. That said, this could be the consequence of Ukrainians having cut off local Russian supply lines, forcing Russian forces to withdraw lest they be cut off from resupplies of weapons and food, which would mean Ukraine has managed to take back the first major city captured by Russian troops back in February, while also putting them within rocket range of a huge swath of targets in nearby Russian-held Crimea. From Reuters, Israel and Jordan move forward with water for energy deal. The Israeli and Jordanian governments have signed a memorandum of understanding that will allow them to progress with a water for energy deal that has recently been confirmed as feasible by relevant experts. This deal would involve building 600 megawatts of solar power capacity in sunlight-rich Jordan, which would then be exported to Israel, and in return Israel would provide Jordan with 200 million cubic meters of water they've desalinated. The signing of the memorandum was conducted at this year's COP27 United Nations climate event and is part of a larger collection of agreements Israel has been signing with its neighbors in recent years, now that some of them have agreed to normalize diplomatic and economic relations with them. And from BBC News, 100,000 civil servants vote for walkout across UK. About 100,000 civil servants working as driving test administrators, border force officials, and employment service providers, among many other professions, have voted to strike with the highest ever percentage of its balloted membership, 86.2%, voting in favor of the strike. This vote was the result of a recently announced government plan to cut 91,000 civil servant jobs and to trim redundancy pay by nearly 26%. And this is just one of several unions that have voted to strike across the UK in just the past few months, with transportation workers, legal workers, and nurses also having made this decision in the face of what they've called inflation-diminished paychecks, insufficient social and economic safety nets, and austerity plans by the government that would see many of them fired in the near future. If you're finding some value in One Sentence News, consider leaving a quick review wherever you get your podcasts and or sharing the show with a friend. You can find out more about this show or subscribe to the email version at onesentencenews.com. And you can support this and other related projects, like the Let's Know Things and Brain Lenses podcasts at understandery.com.